In the final days of the Sengoku era, when warlords bathed the land in endless blood, one samurai stood alone amidst the silence of the fallen. His name was Hayato, the Crimson Blade of Kyoto. His sword had carved fear into the hearts of many, yet on this morning it trembled in his hands. Hayato had won countless battles, but victory had long lost its meaning. The scent of death lingered heavier than honor. Around him lay the remnants of his men, loyal, fierce, now silent. He gazed at them and whispered, "Was this truly glory?" From the fog, a young boy appeared, unarmed, trembling. Hayato raised his blade out of instinct, but stopped. The boy bowed, holding the flute close to his chest. "My village burns," he said. "Please, no more killing." In that moment, something shattered inside him. Not his resolve, but the chains that bound his soul to violence. That night, beneath a sky heavy with ash and stars, Hayato made a choice few samurai ever dared. He would abandon the sword. Not out of cowardice, but conviction. For what is honor, he thought, if it costs the soul its peace? Days turned into weeks. Hayato wandered the land like a shadow of what once was. Villagers whispered of a lone warrior who carried a blade yet refused to draw it. To some he was a coward, to others a saint. To himself he was simply a man searching for peace. His journey led him to a mountain temple known as the Sanctum of Still Waters. There, monks meditated on the nature of life and death. Hayato bowed before the head monk. "I seek peace," he said. The monk looked into his eyes and replied, "Then you must learn to forgive your own sword." Days turned to months. Hayato trained not in battle, but in stillness. He learned to calm his spirit, to silence the thunder of his past. He swept the temple grounds, tended gardens, and listened, really listened, to the sound of wind over water. But even in silence, the echoes of war haunted him. In his dreams, the faces of the fallen returned, whispering his name. One night, as rain fell upon the old wooden roof, Hayato lit a single candle before the shrine. He spoke to the shadows that lingered, the soldiers he had slain, the brothers he had lost. "Forgive me," he whispered, voice breaking. "Forgive the man who could not see beyond his blade." Peace, however, is never free from testing. One dawn, screams echoed from the valley below. Bandits, ruthless men who preyed upon the weak, had come to pillage. Hayato stood at the temple gates, hands trembling. The monks begged him not to fight. But when he saw a child running, crying for her mother, something within him stirred. This time he would draw his sword not for honor, but for mercy. The bandit leader laughed. "The Crimson Blade returns," he sneered. Hayato took a breath. No anger, no pride, only purpose. Steel clashed once, only once, and silence followed. The bandit fell. The others fled. Hayato's blade, once a tool of destruction, had become an instrument of protection. In the months that followed, the village flourished. The people spoke of the warrior who saved them, though he never took credit. Hayato spent his days teaching the young, not the art of the sword, but the art of restraint. And for the first time in his life, he felt something greater than honor. He felt peace. They called him the samurai who chose peace, a man who turned his back on glory to seek the quiet truth within himself. In his silence, he found a lesson for all who walk the path of power. True strength is not in how many battles you win, but in the ones you choose not to fight. Years passed. The samurai who once lived for the clash of steel now lived for silence. Each morning he rose before the sun, bowed toward the mountains, and whispered a single word: peace. It was no longer a prayer to the gods, but a promise to himself. He began planting trees in the same valleys where he once fought. Every tree, he said, was an apology, a life restored for the lives he had taken. The villagers soon joined him. What was once a battlefield became a garden of blossoms. Children who once feared his name now ran to greet him. They called him sensei, not for his swordsmanship, but for his wisdom. He taught them that true strength is not the hand that strikes, but the heart that forgives. One evening he saw in the water not the warrior he once was, but a man reborn. The scars on his hands no longer haunted him. They reminded him that peace had a price, and he had paid it in full. He remembered every face he had cut down, every battle where victory tasted like ashes. He whispered a silent prayer to their spirits. I cannot undo what I have done, but I can live the rest of my days in your honor. One day a young warrior came to him, proud, fiery, hungry for glory. He demanded the old samurai to teach him how to kill. The old man smiled gently and said, I will teach you how to end war, not begin one. For weeks they trained, not in the art of killing, but the art of restraint. When the boy's anger rose, the master said, if you can master your anger, you can master any enemy. When war came again, the boy, now a man, stood before an invading army, but instead of raising his sword, he offered a treaty. No blood was spilled that day. The samurai's legacy lived on, not through war stories, but through peace itself. In his final moments he sat beneath the blooming cherry trees, listening to the wind whisper through their branches. A gentle smile crossed his face. He had found the peace he once sought in the blade, now resting quietly in his heart. When the villagers found him, he was gone, but his garden stretched farther than the eye could see. Every blossom told his story, that even the fiercest warrior can become a guardian of peace. And so, the samurai who once lived by the sword became a legend not of war, but of peace. For sometimes, the greatest victory is the one fought within.